ever hear a line in a country song and feel the whole room flip? There's one line in that little story song that lands, and suddenly you're not just listening, you're sitting in a packed PTA meeting being called out. Today, we're going to slow that moment down, pull apart how it's built, and why it teaches writers and producers more than most 3-minute hits do. Welcome back to Ranch Beat, where every country song has a story, and we tell it. I'm James, and this episode, Harper Valley PTA, how a brisk spoken bridge talk song transformed a comic sketch into a crossover smash, and what songwriters and producers can learn from its economy, timing, and theatrical delivery.
And I'm Sam. Stick around. We'll do a close read of 3 pivotal lines, play a guided listening exercise so you'll hear the payoff differently next time, and run a quick checklist for producers who want to trace credits or clear clips. This one's a perfect lesson in escalation and specificity.
Quick facts first. The song was written by Tom T. Hall, recorded by Jeannie C. and released in the late 1960s. It shot across pop and country charts and felt like a little stage play captured on vinyl. Why is it a useful case study? Because it uses conversational specificity and a spoken bridge to create instant characters and stakes with almost no verses to spare.
Right. Tom T. Hall came out of a storyteller tradition. He could sketch a scene in a line and move on. And Jeannie C. Riley's performance turned that sketch into a character you could hear in a small town hallway. For producers and songwriters, the record is a masterclass in how arrangement, timing, and vocal delivery turn a sketch into a drama.
Let's roll this back to the beginning. Tom T. Hall wrote the piece like a short stage monologue. Someone has a story, they tell it, and the audience fills in the rest. Sources point to Hall's knack for quick sketches and stage-ready lines. If you're checking credits and want shades after the episode, start with ASCAP BMI listings, original liner notes, and early trade press for demos and publishing details.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. Hall's approach meant the song didn't need elaborate metaphors. Instead, it piled specific little details on top of each other. People, places, accusations, and that specificity makes each accusation feel vivid and believable. That's economy. Say less, but say it precisely.
We also checked in with archival commentary for context. An archival note we relied on described the record's reception as a moment where country storytelling crossed into theatrical novelty. To be clear, that's a paraphrase of archival commentary used to frame how it played on radio and in press at the time.
Let's do a close read. First pivot, the title itself. It names a place and an institution. It's shorthand for a small social arena with rules, gossip, and reputations. That immediately locates us. Second pivot, a handful of lines in the verses use very concrete details, an event, a dress, a local rumor, and each detail raises stakes without a long setup. Third pivot, the spoken bridge. This is the theatrical knockout. Instead of singing, the narrator addresses the town in plain speech, and the timing of each clause is what makes the accusation land. If you're writing, listen to how cadence replaces melody to deliver a punchline.
Listen to this as if you're editing dialogue for stage. The spoken bridge is compressed scene work: subject, accusation, reaction, payoff. Producers create space for that by pulling instrumentation back, leaving a dry drum click or a quiet guitar bump to punctuate lines. The mix choices give the listener room to hear consonants and timing, which matters when a spoken line needs to land like a stage line.
And delivery-wise, Jeannie C. doesn't overact. Her phrasing feels lived in, like someone telling a story to a neighbor. That restraint makes the final sentence hit harder, because it reads as belief rather than performance. If you're producing a spoken section, think about how much of the performer's own voice you want to let through.
A quick note about credits and production names: always verify producer and session player credits against primary sources. We recommend pulling original single or album liner notes, label catalogs, trade press of the era, and ASCAP BMI entries. If you're planning to quote or use archival audio, start clearance early. Rights holders can take time to respond.
There's a bit of drama around the record's crossover. Some radio programmers loved the storytelling. Some critics called it novelty. We frame that neutrally here. It's useful because it tells us how style and delivery can force a single to live in multiple musical worlds. For writers, that's a reminder. How you present a lyric can open or close doors to different audiences.
Okay, time for a quick listening exercise. I want you to imagine the spoken bridge twice. First, picture it with a fuller arrangement, strings or backing vocals filling every gap. Now imagine it with the arrangement pared back to a light guitar, a sparse rhythm, and a single piano hit on the last word. Which one makes the line ring truer? Press play in your head and notice the space around the words. The second version will feel like a stage confession, and that's the production trick the record uses to get mileage from a single spoken line.
If you tried that and felt the difference, congratulations. You just practiced a listening habit that will change how you write and produce narrative songs. One more practical tip before we wrap. When you document sources for a story song episode, keep a simple checklist. Song title, writers, publisher, performer, producer, label, session players, first release date, chart performance source, and any archival citations. That saves so much back and forth later.
And about rights, short unlicensed clips can be risky. Plan for licensing, budget it, and prepare alternatives. Descriptive narration, newly recorded score-alike passages, or public domain material. We always prepare fallback audio in case an archive answer is delayed.
Wrap-up time. Why does Harper Valley PTA matter? Because it shows you can build a vivid narrative with tight specificity, let delivery do the heavy lifting, and use production space to stage a moment. Next time you hear a country song hitting you in the gut, try to spot the tiny details doing the work. That one line often tells you everything.
If you enjoyed that deep dive, we've got a short checklist in the episode notes for tracing credits and a reading list of archival sources we consulted. And if you want a follow-up episode that digs into producer choices on other talk songs, tell us which song you want us to unpack next.
All right. If you liked this episode, subscribe to Ranch Beats so you don't miss the next deep dive. Rate us, drop a comment with your favorite narrative song, or suggest the next country song we should pull apart. Every country song has a story, and we tell it.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another song and another story. Same structure, more secrets.